A lot of people seek out a VPN service for the purposes of increasing their privacy and anonymity online. However, most VPNs don't actually accomplish these things in the way that you think they do, if at all. The privacy that VPNs offer lies in the encryption. When using a VPN, all data is going to be sent through a secure tunnel using protocols like the point-to-point tunneling protocol or layer 2 tunneling protocol over IPsec. These would prevent any unsecure connections that are using non-encrypted protocols running on an open Wi-Fi network from being intercepted by somebody else on that Wi-Fi network. Using a VPN also prevents someone from seeing the end connection that you are making from the perspective of someone monitoring activity on a network, whether it be at a coffee shop, open Wi-Fi, or your ISP, as in your home internet connection. All they'll be able to see is that you are making a connection to the VPN, but they won't know exactly what data is traversing that VPN connection. As far as anonymity, almost no VPN provider truly offers that option, except for the one that I'm going to show you today. And the reason why is when you purchase a VPN service, you typically have to do so with an electronic form of payment, either a credit card or a PayPal or a Google Pay account, or you could even do a crypto payment in some cases. But none of these options really allow for anonymous purchasing. Credit cards and PayPal and Google, they all require personal information to set up, and that personal information is going to be related to the account that you're creating. And most forms of crypto as well, they are not actually anonymous because most crypto wallets, they have personal identifying information associated with them. And since most people are purchasing crypto and building crypto wallets through exchanges like Coinbase or Binance, they require a driver's license for you to sign up, and they keep track of every coin that is sold on their platform, the full history of where they've been. So things like Bitcoin aren't really a good idea to use for any kind of an anonymous payment if you actually ended up getting your coins and your wallet that way. So the only way that you can really purchase a VPN anonymously would be to do so with privacy coins such as Monero that are designed to be untraceable, or with cash, which of course is also untraceable. Which brings me to Mullvad. So this is the best VPN to use for those who want to reveal as little of their personal information as possible. Their site is accessible through Tor, but it does require JavaScript, so you'll have to change your security setting to safer at the very least to be able to view the website. And this is the first big thing that separates Mullvad from other VPN services. So they don't ask for a name, an email address, a phone number, nothing like that. They just generate this random 16-digit account number for you. So that is going to be your account, and then they ask you for a one-time payment to basically add time to that account number. And if we take a look at the one-time payment options, they do accept cash as an option to purchase it. And we can also take a look at the policies that Mullvad has. They're basically going to be the same as just about any other VPN provider. They're going to say that they don't have any logs and things like that. However, Mullvad, their no log policy, it's a little bit more reassuring when it comes from them, because obviously when you're purchasing this service with cash, and it doesn't require any email, any phone number, any type of identifying information, there's not really anything that they have to associate the account with the person in the first place. Of course, if you pay with a credit card, then there could be something that associates you a little bit more, but they don't force you to do it, right? You can do it with cash, and they even tell you when you go to the pay with cash screen that this is the option if you want to do it completely anonymously. And Mullvad is also headquartered in Sweden, which does not have any key disclosure laws. So there's no legislation that's forcing Mullvad to give the feds backdoor access into their services. So on the Pay with Cash screen, you can click this button to create a token. And you're going to want to write this down on a piece of paper. Don't print it out digitally because printers actually do write identifying information called machine identification code, which is basically some small yellow dots that can be used to assign a document to a printer's serial number and the date and the time when it was printed. Really hard to see them. You can't even really see them with the naked eye. So handwriting is the best idea here. And then just include with that piece of paper that has the token, however much money you want to pay for the amount of VPN time that you need. It currently costs $5.50 per month, and it would be $66 to buy the service for 1 year. Then you can download the Mullvad VPN app. There's a bunch of different download options, so you can download it for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, iOS, or Android. So with Linux, you can download it as an RPM or a deb. So after you download the Mullvad VPN app, this is what it looks like. You can log in with your account number. And of course, you're going to have to add time to it. So if you're doing it with a cash payment, you'll just have to wait until it arrives there. It might take about a week or so, depending on what country you're sending the cash from. And this app, as well as the Mullvad VPN API, they have had an independent security audit performed on them fairly recently, actually. And you can view the results of that independent security audit at this link that's included right here. And we can see from the overview of the findings that there were a few medium level and low level vulnerabilities that were found. Things like this firewall de-anonymization by eavesdropper and the named pipe exposed via SMB. These were some vulnerabilities that existed in an earlier version of the app, but both of these had been fixed since the desktop version 2020.5. And I can show you that this current desktop version on Linux is 2020.7. And there's also options to use Mullvad with OpenVPN on Linux, as well as Windows and Mac OS. So if you want a VPN to provide you with as much privacy as possible without you having to give personal identifying information to sign up for the service, Mullvad VPN is definitely the one to go with. And it's also important to note that with this VPN, your real IP address could still be revealed if your browser has a Webrtc leak. And by default, most browsers do have Webrtc enabled, which is useful for doing things like real-time communications in the browser, like video chats. It's going to store a copy of your real public IP address, and this IP information gets stored in a JavaScript file. So if you visit a website that has JavaScript enabled, it could read from this file and reveal what your true IP address is, even if you have a VPN connection. So to get around this, you want to make sure that you are implementing a solution in your browser to block Webrtc leaks. A lot of the time, you can do this through the About configuration settings for Chrome or Firefox, or you can just get an add-on that does it. uBlock Origin, for example, if you go into the settings, they also have an option to prevent Webrtc from leaking local IP addresses. And once you implement a solution like that, it's also important to test it to make sure that it's actually working. And you can do that at a site like browserleaks.com/webrtc. Of course, you got to make sure that you have JavaScript enabled, but it's going to check to see what your IP address is. So it'll show you the public IP address that is hitting this website, which should be the VPN. And then you shouldn't see here your local IP or your local IPv6 address. It shouldn't be what your true IP is. It should be showing either nothing at all or the same one as the VPN that's connecting to it. So once you got that set up, your browser configuration and your Mullvad VPN, you're ready to experience one of the most private browsing sessions that you can without having to use Tor or an open Wi-Fi network.